The beloved Harry Potter book and film franchise just struck gold again recently with the open-world Hogwarts Legacy game. This proved that, after the flop that was Fantastic Beasts 3, Harry Potter was still a golden egg-laying goose. Fantastic Beasts 3 was just a rare turd that the goose laid. So now, Warner Bros. Discovery is cashing in on those golden eggs with a television reboot of the Harry Potter movies, claiming that they're sticking closely to the books. I'm Troy from Marks on TV, and today we're discussing the storylines from the Harry Potter books that were omitted from the films, and our hopes that the upcoming television show will address them. Now, on with the story. All the articles I'm referencing today are linked down in the video description. Before getting into the actual article, just to recap things for those that didn't watch my first video, I'll link it at the end of this one. HBO Max, soon to be renamed Max, has confirmed a 10-year television journey through the Harry Potter books. They are rebooting the franchise with fresh faces playing the iconic characters we all know and love, and every season of the show will be dedicated to one single book in the series. That doesn't quite add up since there are only 7 books, but I addressed that in my last video as well, and the heads of Max say that each season will come 1 year after the other, but whatever. I actually addressed that in my last video as well. But regardless, this is 100% happening, and you can get more details about the specifics in my previous video. Anyway, let's dive into the article from MovieWeb. Harry Potter plot points from the books that we want to see in the series. With the upcoming Harry Potter series on HBO Max, we're hoping it includes these 8 storylines from the books that never made it into the movies. The Harry Potter saga began with the novel Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or if you're an American, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, published in 1997. The book was an immediate hit and quickly spawned a series of 6 additional novels. Hollywood soon came calling, and the first Harry Potter movie was released in 2001, expanding into one of the most successful multimedia franchises of all time that includes everything from stage plays to theme parks and video games. The only thing missing was a TV series, and that is soon going to change. The studio that owns the rights to the Harry Potter movies has announced a television adaptation is in the works, which plans to cover each Harry Potter novel over a complete season. Let's take a look at some of the best subplots of the books that the Harry Potter movies did not reference, which can finally be adapted for a TV show. Peeves the Poltergeist. The Harry Potter movies make it seem like Fred and George Weasley were the chief mischief makers at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, but that is only because the movies entirely omitted the character of Peeves the Poltergeist from the novels. Unlike the other dignified ghost residents of Hogwarts who mostly minded their own business, the ghoulish Peeve lives, even though he is technically one of the undead, only to cause chaos and destruction. Peeves is introduced in the first Harry Potter novel, where he turns invisible and pranks the students and teachers, blows raspberries at everyone, and makes up songs with rude lyrics to sing during solemn occasions. Only a couple of people at Hogwarts are capable of controlling Peeves, and the rest have to put up with his antics all the way until the final book in the series. Imagine a kid-friendly version of Beetlejuice, and you got some idea of how fun Peeves could be to watch in live-action form. Spew. What is SPEW? It's short for Society for the Promotion of Elfish Welfare. Who cares about SPEW? Exactly one person in the entire Harry Potter universe, Hermione Granger, who founded the society and keep it running in the face of all odds. After learning about the situation of unpaid and overworked house elves at Hogwarts, Hermione was horrified and vowed to fight till her last breath to get the magical creatures their basic rights. The problem is, house elves by nature are attuned to a life of serving others, and they actively resist Hermione's attempts to emancipate them against their will. The entire Spew subplot puts Hermione at the center of the narrative for a change instead of being Harry's sidekick, and it offers an interesting way to explore her strong social justice instincts that the movies rarely dwelled on. The Winky Situation. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire is one of the thickest Harry Potter novels, which meant that its film adaptation had to remove a lot of subplots to keep the runtime manageable. One such subplot involves Winky the House Elf, one of the most interesting characters in the novels. Winky is a slave of a high-ranking wizarding world official, Barty Crouch, and his mysterious and estranged son named Barty Crouch Jr. Winky is an important part of the villainous plot of the story, and she is instrumental in getting Barty Crouch Jr. out of his father's supervision and back in contact with Lord Voldemort. Winky also provides an interesting counterpoint to Dobby the house elf, especially once she leaves the services of Barty Crouch and joins the other elves at Hogwarts, and even has a run-in with Hermione over spew-related matters. Neville and his parents. Neville Longbottom is mostly shown to be the comic relief in the movies, but the Harry Potter novels give the character a much more important role. Neville is meant to be a what-if version of Harry's journey through the series. Both Harry and Neville were marked by the same prophecy to be Voldemort's potential nemesis. Like Harry, Neville's personal life is also full of tragedy. Neville's parents were highly successful Aurors who were captured by Bellatrix Lestrange and a group of Death Eaters and tortured into insanity. Neville still has a tender relationship with his mentally broken parents, which was never explored in the movies. The TV show can do a better job of showing how the tragedy of Neville's parents and his bossy, domineering grandmother, who became his guardian, turned Neville into a timid and rather weak little kid until he eventually blossomed into a badass character by the end thanks to the influence of Harry, Ron, and Hermione. The Muggle Prime Minister. The Wizarding World in the Harry Potter movies exists in its own little bubble, safe from the prying eyes of Muggles. But the books reveal that the non-magic population of Britain are not quite so oblivious to magic's existence. This is shown in the most interesting manner in the novel Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, which begins with a look at the current Muggle Prime Minister of the UK. It is revealed that every new appointed Muggle PM in the country is visited by the Minister of Magic shortly after the appointment. Not only is the Muggle PM made aware of the Wizarding World, but he is often required to cooperate with his magical counterpart at times of great distress, like when Sirius Black escaped from Azkaban, or when Voldemort was returned to power for a second time and gathering an army of dark creatures to attack the Muggle world with. The Young Marauders. Move over, Harry, Ron, and Hermione. The novels have revealed that the coolest students to ever study at Hogwarts were not Harry and his two sidekicks, but rather the four friends known as the Marauders: Moony, Wormtongue, Padfoot, and Prongs. Or, to be more clear, Remus Lupin, Peter Pettigrew, Sirius Black, and James Potter. The adventures of the Marauders are only mentioned briefly in the novels, but there is enough data there to have fans clamoring for a spin-off movie dealing with the Marauders and their naughty relationship with a certain duo of Lily Evans and Severus Snape. The movies only showed Harry's mom and dad in their role of parents, but there was a lot more to Lily and James and their friends circle that the show should do a deep dive into. The Gaunts. Lord Voldemort is one of the biggest villains in the history of cinema, but the Harry Potter movies don't explore his backstory much to show how Voldemort became so evil. The novels, however, do a much better job exploring the twisted lineage of Voldemort, aka Tom Riddle Jr., a direct descendant of Salazar Slytherin on his mother's side, going through the Gaunt family. The Gaunts were a family of wizards who had fallen on destitute times due to a fantastic amount of arrogance, violence, and inbreeding. Merope Gaunt, the daughter of the family, sought to escape by luring a local handsome muggle into marriage through magical coercion. From this unholy union of suffering, deceit, and mental problems was born the half-blood wizard the world would someday come to know as the dreaded Lord Voldemort. The Quidditch World Cup. Few fictional sports have seized the imagination of pop culture the way that Quidditch has. A game played at Hogwarts and around the Wizarding World, Quidditch is a thrilling concoction of players flying around on broomsticks at top speed while juggling balls, bats, and the golden snitch between them. Some of the most exciting scenes in the Harry Potter movies involved Quidditch matches. Unfortunately, the movies decided to entirely ignore the most important match in the novels, the Quidditch World Cup, which takes place at the start of the fourth novel in the series. The account of the match in the novel is quite thrilling, but the movie only shows the game about to start before cutting abruptly to Harry and the others discussing the match after it had already ended. Talk about a bait and switch. We really need to see the full match in all of its glory. I'm not gonna lie, these books came out when I was pretty darn young, and I haven't read them since the years that they were published, so most of these storylines completely slipped my mind. since they were obviously not addressed in the films. However, with a 10-year show that covers 7 books that we're looking at, there will be plenty of time to not only address the big storylines that the movies already covered, but there's really no excuse for omitting anything, unless it's such an insignificant and boring detail that literally nobody gives a crap about. There are 2 things I definitely want to see addressed more thoroughly. Going in to watch Prisoner of Azkaban, the only one who didn't read the books in my family was my father, so if something wasn't addressed in the film, he had 0 clue about it. They never brought up Harry's father's Patronus being a stag, so when the stag Patronus came to save Harry from the Dementors, he thought that it was maybe his father. The other thing I want to see from the Chamber of Secrets, I believe, is gnome tossing. Does anyone remember that part at Ron's house where they were tossing gnomes in the garden? I think that was even in the Harry Potter video game that I played. That was hilarious. Or is that politically incorrect nowadays? Whatever. Either way. If you could, please comment down below with what you think of all this and how you're feeling about it all. Do you see an upside for the fans with Max rebooting the beloved film franchise but doing it as a TV show? Are you excited, upset, or somewhere in between? What would you like to see in the TV series, and what storylines do you want to see addressed more thoroughly or addressed for the first time? And do you take Max and Rowling at their word when they say that the show will closely follow the books? Also, please share this video around to everyone you know, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click that little bell to be notified every time we post brand new content. I've been Troy from Marks on TV, and we'll see you next time.